Motion carried. All right. So we have a cover. We're ready. And start on 17. Right, Bob. Okay. So if we have questions, speak it. All right. So we'll go through, I thought we got through the medical thing, I didn't. EMS. So, come down to the EMS at the bottom of the page, 104371. They didn't ask for anything different this year. I think they asked for a vehicle remount, was that right? I remember that.
So that would be.
1043. Yep, 104371, the EMS. They didn't ask for any extra positions or anything like that, just keep it on. They did ask for
It's a butterfly thing.
an ultrasound. I think was what that was. Pull that and look at. Is there anything in here, Brandon?
I'll take it all out.
But there is a remount in there. That's to take that box off and shine it up a little bit. But I know we had that. Well, we have all levels, but we have found out we get them when they're in school, like coming out of school. That's the easiest time after for the long time they do their ride along. We're part of that group since we have so many out there that teach us the class. Right. We have the field training officers in place. I mean, it's pretty handy. And then those people start out. And so what happens is they get a little bit less, they get less, but then they can move up into those paramedic positions. But they have to have an open position to go into. So they'll be like that. They're already in working part-time. Yeah. But they work with a field training officer. Because to help train them. Because we never want to be left without 2 paramedics on a truck. And we have a chaser, the supervisor. And then you have the director. Well, I was just that's the way we can keep those people, because once they go to another place, right, it's hard to get them back. So I was had lunch last week with a couple other county managers, Mitchell, and they were saying that they were looking at some different options at Mitchell, maybe changing some things up to some basics for drivers and still having a paramedic on the truck and having a chaser. Also said that about that's the time too. I mean, things is the storm problem with that. Feels strong. Well, that's what I was telling them, because even yeah. Well, that's why we pair a field training officer with that person that's learning till they can get there. But I was telling the other county managers, they have a hospital there. We don't. So you have to be a darn good paramedic. I feel like there's are. It's not just the paramedic, you have to be a darn good one to keep somebody sometimes alive from the head of flat top to the hospital. Yeah. People done a lot. You get far out places, it takes you 30 minutes just to get back to 19. I do too. I will say that Christy said that she went to the conference last week I said, is anybody here fully staffed? She raised her hand. He said, you must be Yancey. No way, so that speaks
Somebody
volumes.
else fully staffed.
Evidently not. Oh, so that. Anybody, yeah. So I'm.
But we have everything in place. So it's ready when it's to be right.
Yeah, because what happens is, even when they're working part-time, they're making that.
Okay.
And then a lot of them get their foot in the door as a part-time, you know, they're filling in on Fridays or whatever. When somebody's on vacation. But then that gets their foot in the door for.
Good.
We've been doing.
That's a union permit.
So the community paramedic, he does a really good job. You know, we have another community paramedic with him. Something happened. She's part-time. She can't do both, you know. So anyway, she sat down and she's part-time, trying to work a few hours a week. And we had put out the other community paramedic job. And we have a lot of paramedics up there that has their community paramedic. Yeah, we do. It's probably 4 off the top of my head that have them. But they lose some time when they come down. They lose some money when they come down to community paramedic because the way it's structured is, you know, 8:30 to 5. Even though sometimes he might come in later during the day and work till 7 because that's the way it is. But yeah, I see him out there sometimes at 7.
Two full-time, but one's only working part-time.
We have one part-time, one full-time, right? And we have put it out a couple of times, full-time. But we did 2 full-time and keep it full-time. Yeah, we have so much, I mean, his call volume forward is crazy. So what he was looking at is bringing up somebody else on full-time, but nobody in the paramedic world, right, where they're at wants it because. Talked about is to be able to hone in on what's wrong when they walk in, because it really is paramedic slash social worker slash, you know, really is a dual role, and it's also a community resource. Uh, that they're helping them with food, they're helping them get around, they're helping them get a. I mean, it's more than just coming in. Flip through files when they get in there, what's exercise. Supposed to drop off this. So sometimes there's a lot of confusion. Either the EMS refers them, doctor's office can refer them, or doing a lot with stroke right now. It really is a true, not homeless, it's not the opioid, you know, drug abuse and stuff like some of the other community paramedics around are, chasers or stuff like that. It's a true go in the house, link them to those resources they need. And it also, if it keeps them out of the hospital, it keeps them from being a frequent flyer. So he did throw out an idea, which is costly to us in some regards, but he'd have more interest in the position, is, running it like they do Thanksgiving. Except the deal is, he would have to fill in on the truck like every, well, yeah. That he would have interested out of there because they wouldn't be. Well, it would have to be for the whole department.
So this would just be making 4.2.
Yeah, but they would put them in the same rotation. They'd work the same rotation as EMS. So they'd work 4 days a week and then fill in, because it's just 8 hours. And then fill in, I believe that's what it says, fill in a shift on it. He said he's not against doing that. Evan said he's not against doing it himself. And he says, it would help me with my emergency medicine. I'm still used to working on a truck one day. He said, I'm not against it. But that community paramedic program is going to grow. Wait and see. It's going to grow by leaps and bounds. But before long, I really insurance will recognize it. Well, they ought to, because it's pension. How much does that save? And on huge thing.
When this like that you're like that type that how you check out.
And you don't know what to do.
What it is for.
Especially when they're discharged from the hospital.
Yeah.
It's real confusing. So, yeah. Was I supposed to take this pill or was I supposed to take that pill? Did they want me to go to therapy? Do the following. I mean, so he kind of can go through the discharge instructions and help them. And they're also worked really good tying into the health department. He works out of the health department, but he's under 50. But he ties really good in, Misty said, with the health department. He can do maybe some home visits, some tele visits with the doc. Yeah, he'll can go out in Victoria or Dr. Craig can see that patient at televisit that he will be sitting there with them. Because some of these elderly folks that we serve, they don't know how to use it. So they're starting to intertwine some of that.
So is he thinking about adding this, he could also incorporate this whole thing with the telemedicine?
Oh, yeah. And if that happens, you'll be able to bill insurance. I think she has some grants on that kind of thing. The health department. So it helps the health department and it helps them and it helps us. That's the main thing.
I'm sure that you don't have any.
I don't have that. I may have some information on that I can pull up. But he's gave a little numbers as far as, it is overtime because you're working them into that 24-hour shift. And you have to be working.
So we might have another full time.
But we're paying that. We are paying that at EMS already. But it's pretty much like that. Because they're losing all their overtime. Well, I'd love to go to that schedule or I'd love to go help, but the money I lose.
That's the problem I see. You've got full slate of people. It'll be on a community paramedic. That'd be only disadvantage. We can expand that into the paramedic. Maybe first, and then Build your time
The
around.
only thing is if you have some good experience, and you know, Evan had experience, you know, EMS, emergency side, but he also worked for Range some, and he had the experience on the telehealth, that side, doing home visit.
You almost need
Bingo. That's right. It wants to step down, but still wants to
to
be
work
part-time. And we have some that's close to that, but they're just not interested yet.
Say, folks,
Yeah, that's what we left, but left it like it is, you know. But I will say Evan does need help. And we have posted that. Yeah. And you know, it's good for them to be a community paramedic. Um, but I don't know. Thinking right. It absolutely has to be a community paramedic. It might be somebody that is a FMP that wanted to retire. It might be somebody that's a registered nurse that wanted to retire. I think those people could fit that role as well and just go out and do the next week. Any medical professional. A nurse or somebody like that would realize that. I don't think it could be anybody later than the medicine. Yeah. But he does good, and right now, as you guys know, we don't get any kind of insurance or anything on that. But, you know, when we do, we can relook at see if we want to swap the schedule. But the need's there. I mean, he does like 200 and some calls a month or something. It's crazy. I know he, you know, reports often, but he reports every month at the EMS meeting. And they're good. If you knew what if you knew what, he's been in a slip, trip, or fall, a broken hip, and so many days in the nursing home, so many days here or there, or medicine mixed up that might have cost somebody their life, or, you know, I don't know if you can remember. Not to mention insurance and all that, saving people money. It's not us, it's them, but, I think that's one of the best programs we do, and get no return. We offer a lot of that.
you know, like, fresh.
That's kind of what he did.
Ladies.
They started at the bottom of page 2 on the expense side, so you'll look through the revenue and go through it.
The second thing, that I did, halfway through,
Yeah, you'll see another, that first row, like 21 pages.
I don't have an expense, I have two revenues.
It's in there.
Move it. You know, like,
41.
they still remind me that. She's got it, take care of it. It's gonna take a while. And it should be done more.
So, as you all know, we lost, lady from the tax office who retired again. for a part-time position. And what I'm requesting, I would like to have that replaced with a full-time position, personal property. I have one personal property appraiser in the office, and she has actually taken on what was left with the vehicles, all the things that was done by the other person. So that's led me to pull a real property appraiser from real property to help with personal property, which everybody knows the revenue comes from the real property. So, but we're having to. I mean, it's right now we're just kind of we're thin right now. It doesn't look that way, but we are. So I did a couple of letters explaining, you know, why, what the person would be doing. And I've provided what we did for personal property in 2025. That's on the second part of that page. I've also included toward the back, there's an email from our personal property appraiser. Just kind of an overview of what she's doing or what she's been doing. And then she provided a whole list of things that she's responsible for right now, which we are shifting responsibilities and trying to even work out and things like that. There's a lot. There's a lot of growth in the county, even with the hurricanes. We've got a lot of foot traffic, and the vehicle side of things that she picked up is probably accounting for about 25 to 30% of her time right now. So she's being pulled off of business, personal. She's being pulled off of everything else that she was doing to do that. There's reports that have to be run monthly. A queue that I've included here, the vehicle tax queue. If you look at the top, there are numbers beside each one of those types of vehicles. She gets this queue every month. She has to go through and adjust
the size on it, on what township it's to be placed in for fire.
So on this one, there's well over 200. There's probably 300. I didn't do the math, but you can see that.
And is that the one that the tag office, fusses about sometimes, because if it don't know the fire district, it just puts it in Burnsville,
Yeah,
and those people get double taxed, and then they're like, I don't live in Burnsville,
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
And they're calling.
Then when they call and come in and have to adjust it,
And I know that's at the state level, like whatever the glitch is there, for people buy.
if they don't recognize the road name or something, they just throw it
Throw it
in.
in Burnsville. So that has
But
been
the
happening.
queue here is just, sinuses that they have no clue. I mean, there'd be like 2,000 of the bills that go out from state that already have the townships on them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that, you know,
But this has to be done.
they do that
monthly,
too when they get close to the county line.
as well as the report has to be done monthly, which is something that she's having to do on top of her regular assigned. And we don't have another personal property appraiser in the office. We just don't, so it is.
Yeah, it's management.
And Connie was the assist, or,
Connie was part-time, but if we were able to hire full-time, where we already have the part-time position, it would, I understand that there's benefits and things that have to be added onto that, all of that, but we would be able to actually do more with the business, personal audits. We would be able to give you this workup to where it's manageable and actually get done with some quality, you know, because when you're taking away and you're just having to jump here and there, it takes away from your quality.
do you think that there's, I say this, I know that personal property that we've not picked up, that having that extra 20 hours a week, that pick up some additional. To kind
Yeah,
of
there's a
offset.
lot of
There's a lot.
vacation rentals up there that we got picked up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
you
hard
feel
to
like
pick
you
them
can do
up because
that
we
if
don't
you
get
had-
people to report them.
Right.
We just have to hunt for them.
Yeah, but I've been able to pick up more real property as well, because I can put the real property person back on real property.
Yeah.
We should have two going out and getting it hard, like John is.
Yeah.
And we have John
Yeah.
right now. He is,
He's teaching.
we could use
Yeah.
Ken up here, but I would settle for one. So if I could get this one position or half of a position, but half's already there, technically.
Yeah.
Then I would be able to get real property back where it needs to be. It would be bringing in a lot more.
You're saying
There's
you
a
feel
lot
like
of
it's like
houses.
even to pick up versus what the extra.
So we go to 40.
Absolutely. And it's a step in the right direction towards
I was
that
gonna
as
say.
well, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Can we do it in house? And there'll have to be more people.
Yeah.
Like you say.
Yeah,
There would
if
have
you
to be
go
a
to,
couple more people.
yeah, there'd have to be a couple more appraisers. Massive
Massive
appraisers, approved by the state, yeah.
But it's total, I mean, it would be doable. It's gonna be doable in the future for sure.
I mean, this in here, we just hang it, that's just, that's the starting point. So, I mean, the only thing you could do on that is prove.
So what we're trying to do is improve the data.
Right.
Because the store has definitely. But it has, everything's changed. Everything's changed. But, with these appeals and being able to get John out there, which we could definitely use another one getting out there, I'm not gonna lie. But if they're getting out there, picking up the new data, making sure everything is right, the more we can do, the better our next appraisal is gonna be. That's just
Yeah, keeping the
good,
data.
good data out. That's just,
Well, we had a full list of measure, and that was a big chunk that we wasn't, we're just glad we had the data.
But it still didn't get everything. We're still going
Yeah.
through, or I am, trying to clean up the database.
Yeah. But we want to keep what we got.
Yeah.
As we can, because we feel like we have the best info that we've had
Oh, yeah.
as far as.
On this side first.
Let me run something else by you, just
Versus what it is now.
food for thought. I know we have people that wears multiple hats, but, like cross training some, like the girls in the front, maybe, I don't know if they're interested in that or not, but, we're busy certain times of the year out there.
they would literally have to be certified. They would have to go to class and get certified to do that.
Wow.
And then you're gonna have to pay them for it. And they might not even be doing much because it depends on, but that's my thought on it.
Like we have one in
On
the
their
office,
side.
I
if I
have,
could give you an extra person out certain times of the year.
I've shifted all the clerk, anything, letters, anything that I've had to do with the hearings, they've done all the letters this year. That hasn't been a thing until this year, but they had time to do it and it gave them, a little
How about the
bit
girls
extra.
out front collecting money?
Yes,
Yeah.
because they're in collection, not in appraisal. So it's a totally different
Yeah.
process to get them.
I just wanted if they would be interested in getting certified either one. Cross training, so.
But almost everybody down there, by the time it's all said and done, will be both personal and real property. They're all interested in doing that, which helps us pick up some slack if something happens and we need,
Right.
or questions come in, they can fill them.
I'll still look at that. That's something we promote is bettering the county by bettering themselves more.
Yeah.
There.
Do they get paid more certification? And have they always?
They have not
No.
shown interest.
Yeah. That's what I said, if they're interested.
So I don't know about that.
And she asking, I want to get certified to do this on money.
Well, that's something to mention, though. I mean, run it up the flagpole.
So this new part-time.
But I'm not discrediting this position, I'm just saying.
Big,
Well, with, salary and benefits, health insurance, everything be 59,576. And with Connie, she was 16,148. So, I mean, you're looking at about,
but you feel like this position could pay for itself?
Plus it'll help me
Because they
retain
can
the
get out and discover more.
because their work
Am I
staff.
getting burned out? Yeah, I understand that.
And then you've wasted money on school and education and all that stuff, and then we gotta do it again.
So if you got anybody down there that's about to hang it up, retire, you know, you're thinking about.
No,
Don't look him up.
I was gonna say. So basically.
Yeah, they shackled me.
Another 40,000. This, you can find the money based on what's out there, then pay for this. Then some, and then also, we've already talked about it, we're going forward. We'll do it again. So, so that'll just help this process
Yeah, move
to
along
be in
forward.
place.
That's good info, we can work through.
Good thing.
that's all. That's it for me.
Thank you, ladies.
And,
Ladies, appreciate y'all.
I think they.
Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you. Fine.
Fine.
Fine. Goodbye.
So we were. So he had asked for additional position in there, which is kind of like what they talked about with the back office. You know, they've got a part-time, there's really another part-time, they need that full-time, we're still hanging on one part. To be able to hang on another. So. No, he was just trying to replace Nicole. As long as she's able. I know.
Move her position to a part-time. Free up, I think get that full-time.
And sometimes she's able to get those hours, sometimes she's not, but I think she's been trying to get on that.
She doesn't.
Depends on the math stuff. And he had asked for a lot of capital, and we cut that out just for an extra person going out. We didn't put that in. The next thing is, transportation. This is kind of like, BSS, that's something that he is, there's a. And I ain't just saying.
They bring job is the.
It's pretty self-sufficient. Transit is
But good, didn't
pretty self-sufficient.
you? Good, didn't you, Lynn?
Well, I didn't get the training much, but, he does a good job. It's what they get from their grant at transportation estate and what. From what he charges on his routes and stuff, which is very. Brick City. So he can turn, there's ED, he's got his, well, if you're on 20, that just starts his operations, which is his van drivers and stuff. Then on, down below in the middle of the page, E&D, that's elderly. That's the grant. And then he's got his transportation capital, which anything in that budget is a grant too, because they fund it at 85%. That's the Fed. The 95%, I always want to say 85, it's 5%.
Oh, yeah, yeah, so. Might not be many, but I know. It's like, what's the first, wow. Yeah. Rarely lady, but. God. Yeah. So, well, I don't know what at the drive. I don't say that. Yeah. First time.
Mom.
Time.
Well, they start one and they got signs in. They helped me put them up last week. I believe one. Yeah. He got a grant for that from SAGE. I don't remember what the drop off and pickup. But it's kind of like from East Yancey to Henry. I mean, it's just kind of like that. You got the fence. And, that poses problems too. People that can get to the bus stop, it's wonderful. They have a little seat, you can sit there. But for the folks that comes into the grocery store and get wash detergent, sometimes they can't carry it back home. So a lot of it's door to door, so it does limit the people that's physically able. You know, uh, we do door to door. It just doesn't. If you do a line, you got to just do bus stop. So you'll be on their schedule. But I think one of them may be Roses down at the Ingles is a drop off, and then it's what it's doing that. And it's like, and
This camera 21 is out at D&D.
yeah, elderly disabled, so that pays for their rides, keeps it low. Then on 22 is the 5310 grant. Oh, first the capital. That's its capital. So, state and feds pay 90%. We have to. No, 5% and 5%. Then transportation 5310 grant. That's another elderly and disabled. Takes people to and from the doctor or to and from work. Free.
Maybe 50% of that.
50. Then sanitation. We don't think there's anything extra in sanitation really. This year we can recycling, everything is just the cost of living is there. Uh, he's getting quite a bit in that grant. We have to sign that contract for the grant. Free, then equipment for solid waste. So, but- and then of course, maybe in 18 months or the next couple budgets, we'll be looking at maybe. So on to page 24, you got the landfill, you know. Huh? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Garbage is high. Garbage is high.
2.1 man for garbage. Now it's 1.6 for man.
Well, you have to add up.
So, I like that, but yeah.
Yeah, add up, not just sanitation, add up recycling and add up the landfill. That's the bag of trash.
EMS.
But EMS has the offset revenue.
What is the total price? Five. It does. That. We need to do.
That's a lot of heavy debris.
One reason I'm interested in it. Because you building a house, and you go over there and you dump it on the floor and push right there in the back.
7.
So 2.7 versus 3.5.
Yeah, but 3.5 has the offset revenue. That's what really don't. Offset revenue with EMS because you're collecting income. And,
This year has.
and I would love for us to think of ways to reduce our trash. New recycling programs and all this stuff's good. But you think about one bag of trash. When you take that bag of trash to the recycling center, you're paying somebody there to put it in the dumpster, to mash the button, keep the place clean, make sure everything's getting hauled out, whatever. Well, you're paying somebody to haul it to the landfill. That's where we're gonna step in maybe in about 18 months, we're gonna step. And
Then we go next recycling again.
well, then you take it to the landfill, right? Or you take the cardboard to the exchange to put it in the recycling baler, or to the tires, so you're handling it again. Then you take it to the landfill, you take it to the drop off of the ashford, whatever, you're handling it again, you're paying the dump.
But then here's the thing too, on top of that, everything that goes into that dumpster out there. Okay. When it gets where it's gonna go, South Carolina, Tennessee, where it is, they go through and dig through it again.
Yeah, they'll sift it through like the milk goes, like that, and try to keep as much out of the landfill, so.
I think for services, and for trash. You get.
Oh, yeah.
And people that comes here like to bid on stuff or do stuff for trash, it's up for bid, we do it every so often. They say you don't charge nothing. Some places charge $1 a bag. Places have the little cards, or some places,
Some can. You think about those. For the community. Think about that. I ain't saying that. Purpose of moving about. Other community. Okay.
Sure. I'm thinking 6, because there's a dumpster up there in the landfill. That community, yeah, that's a huge service for the tax dollars. And I'm done. Kind of like the jail, you build it that kind. It's always full. You go down there and we haul it out fast as we can, but they'll fill up in a heartbeat,
You couldn't let out.
That's cool.
Here, that's what they did.
Well, that's one thing, are we getting out of county trash? I mean, everybody in Madison County, if you pay taxes, you get a card. So they can't not getting a card wanting to dump. I mean, if they pay taxes, they get that. But, how do we cut out of county trash? A recycling attendants, you don't want them out there going, get out of here, and all of a sudden we have a fist fight. It's not worth their hell.
Well,
Hey,
We've looked at do we give them a sticker to put in their windshield, a green sticker or something to recognize it's a Yancey County vehicle, or every time they get their tag renewed, we give them that. But that puts a lot of pressure on our attendants, It's not worth the fight.
no.
So, anyway, we've thought about it for years, how we do it. To put a gate out there and you have a barcode and the gate goes up with your barcode on the car or something. I don't know. Then, is it worth somebody extra sitting out there watching that for you? So, we've been trying to think, but trash is very expensive. And I do think that if we can get to where we haul it, because you haul it, you're paying the contractor that fee. They can go up on you every year here. I mean, instead of it is what it is.
3 more years.
So I'm hoping that we can, and You know, if they come in here and say it's going up 40%, CPI or whatever, we are, you know. But if we're paying for stuff at the top, they're not doing it for free. They're making money. And we're not here to make money, but we're here to save money.
Certain things. Better contract.
Well, I think it really is.
Yeah.
From the convenience center to the landfill, I think it's really good. Now, from the landfill to, or from the transfer station to the landfill. maybe not. That's just my fault. And if we get the equipment for free.
I'm with you.
At the landfill, there is that tipping floor edge that we are going to put back on, you know, where the duct, where it falls, the trash will fall in between the trailer and the wall and that. Keep it up. It looks like it's a mess until we get the trailer out.
I think maybe push the track, make them do that, did the job.
Well, these are our guys now.
I'm just saying, they might not carry it out.
But they are, that's in that grant. We find that grant, so that should be good. I think it's, ready to pull down. Plug down, get that tipping for it. But other than that, going pretty. The pavement looks really good. People flying up there. It's been great. You get them trucks out of there pretty fast. Yeah. Forestry. They had asked for an extra 10,000. That's it. Yeah. Remember, our folks, Frank Blankenship and him. I don't know that it's Frank anymore.
Listen, I know for a fact, we went for a long time and didn't have.
And we went 10 months, remember, and we upped that to 12 last year.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, we didn't have one here, they didn't have one here. They was, we kept. What, so that,
What was the extra 10 for?
See, they never actually spend all their money that they have. So I said, you know, if for some reason they end up needing it, I mean, they can look at it. But I mean, it's just like the gas going up, different random stuff. It wasn't for anything in particular.
I think last year.
yeah, but.
I'm not, yeah, check, okay, man.
So, it's not, okay.
So the next one, I know it says planner, but that's actually Morgan. Budget there. Morgan, that $2,000 capital office equipment, was that Michael Matthews? Was something for computer?
Yeah, but we can go there.
Well, that is,
She is, you know, yes, is
Right.
Just part-time, so we just like that, that's where we put the regional. And then EDC, we put that, we like, oh. You all wear multiple hats, especially Morgan. Um, we put that money back in there for that EDC grant. For back on the fee, you know, we don't do the, like, two members of that board. Say we, I mean, y'all. Uh, we're gonna try to get that back really established. So, it's just kind of been on hiatus. They were trying to get the director, you know, right before the flood happened, and they're focused on that. It's like, yeah, do what they. And you know, that had been talked.
Forget statute.
Yeah.
That is.
Because that person not there.
That travel tourism, I know it's very specific.
Yeah.
Those things to read it, just make sure that.
I think me and Sue looked at it.
They go hand in hand, they
They go
really
hand in
do.
Yeah.
So we talked about that before. We can look at that.
Yeah.
We're on page 26, ag extension. And he's the same way, you know, he has offset extension on. So
Why is it here? No, it's not fine. Things code, things, and they pay for them.
you know, that was early on that,
Well, they're still doing the bench code.
well, they're not anymore. That was first.
Gravel.
Now, that just ended Friday afternoon. You have a lot of people sign up, but it's getting that out to where people knows when the deadlines are. And they really have to be involved with that FSA office, that farm service agency, you know, and have to have a farm number come up. That puts them behind too. A lot of people have farms. They'll pay for hay loss.
Off the top.
Yeah, in the last couple months I've been, there's been a lot. I think we got on the drone thing quite a bit. See. Now we have some extra, they just hired a new person for me. He's great. It's saying, Rutherford, yeah, I came from Rutherford. That is horrible.
Several folks have reached out.
I don't think they're doing that.
This is early on. Over. Work through. We actually worked through here. Operate. That's very responsible. We'll be speaking that.
Well, I know he had reached out to the department. Saying, you know,
No, I don't. Where you going with this thing?
so he's look what you do. Shut up.
The voice of the people.
Yeah. Anyway, I just say sometimes the LSA office and stuff, it's hard to, it's hard to, I think, from the US. There was something that night. Oh, we had the pregnancy. No, it
Yeah.
Anyway. Here's the birthday. Okay, so that's an extension. There's no real, request there, additional. So there's one down.
Bathrooms? Water heater, that'll do it.
Soil and water, co-op agreements just there,
Retirement match.
you know, went up a little bit since the.
Now, this is
No,
our portion.
they're funded through state, but we give them that. That is, so that's the WP program, that's Heatherdale and, Scott Thomas. It's not Renee, but Renee works hand in hand with it. They do it great. You know, there's a RFQ out right now. The engineers. Pre-plant stabilization.
I was fixing that.
Come on, baby. There's somebody here. RFQ that. What's saying, back there. Like, they were playing that, they said, would you like that to show up? I'll see now they're gonna identify, but they have had those engineers together. Submit the bid for the contractors, then the contractors come bid on it.
When I was,
So the way,
they ran that program. They had to finish.
well, you know, we still doing spring cleanup from the lane yet. It was a little slower, but they did add on to
Well, that's been 20 years.
Here, there, Francis and I, they just back to back.
4 weeks.
Feels the campground. We had Michael and Brad. Probably someone. Mental health stuff. That's our drug treatment program. And by what you can use opioid money to offset any drug treatment. Yeah, but I mean, you can take that out of it.
Mental health.
It's a drug treatment program. That 32,000,
We pay
the
32.
26,000. By help. On page 27. It's a.
That's what.
Yeah, 26 to buy and 32 to. That helps pay, for some office material and also couple of graduations or a graduation every year. For that. Okay, the next one is the health department. And Brandy came to me probably about a month ago, say, or maybe more, saying, have you seen the health department? And I said, oh, what are you talking about? I didn't know which way she was going with that. And she said, well, what we're actually paying, being standalone versus what we would do it paying is really darn close. And we have a ton more 13. It's full.
10 times,
It's
maybe
full.
20 times.
And so on that, I'm gonna throw this out there. We have talked to Pruitt Health about changing locations with, because the health department is growing. They need more room. And of course, we have PATH in there. We have, of course, environmental services is part of that, but we have buildings. Pruitt. So we've asked Pruitt if we could find them another location. We're not kicking them out, but because they're a strong advocate in the community. On back for the lot fillers. But if they would be interested, or if they could move, so we can keep the health department in one location. So talk to Joanna. Their staff and home. Talk to- Get these kind of. To see where we can move them, possibly. So, we're working. Different places. And they understood, and I talked to Shell, she came up to my office and just wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth about relocating their office. Of course, they would just be the Pruitt side. They'd still have a home in the health department, but we would get them with us getting another provider. There is a little bit of a HIPAA problem. And she said, well, we signed HIPAA statement, so that's fine. So, and not that there's been any problems there. But, if they're going back and forth in those calls and you've got somebody at the door, then we want to.
Can they come in the backside, come to the front?
They do. They try to go back. Yeah, so it's not, and
Yeah,
it's been
visual
fine.
can be-
Yes, but Shell has been fine. Portray it like that. But we just give more space for the providers and the nurses. Left side, Pruitt side, give the field inspections. And side for with health related. That's a good problem to have, right? I mean, it's a good problem to have. That we're outgrowing our spot. I mean, there's lots of stuff that Yancey talks about, from a dental clinic to, having brands kind of services out there, especially with admin that coming to our local. I guess we can with local and get with them, that coming close, that some services may rebound.
Child,
It'd be great. So anyway, we're talking about it. Moving it, building it. So then you just have we broke down everything. We, the care management team for the children at risk, care management team, miscellaneous supplies, which that's pregnancy, health department, family planning, health side.
Wow, get your head. Fun. And-
And then you got the primary care side, it's bill insurance and all that. That's a whole lot.
pretty much.
Gotta be able to. Yep. So nothing out of the ordinary, no extra positions besides that, S&P, and then bring in offset revenue for that. Just like David or Mark once said, there's 2 months out on wait. You got one that is 3 months out. So I really think they'll be able to fill those slots with another or even. So that position is in there and the nurse position is in there. She has that. DSS admin, we asked Sonia, that's the hard ones. I think I'm cutting some, and it actually cuts revenue, and I think I've cut 30,000 and I've cut 5, because there's an offset revenue of 25. So, if we always ask,
I do have one question about
Dawn,
that. If that nurse, based on that, or is that,
no, it's contingent on the FMP. The FMP needs additional person to talk about it. Yeah. So the, right now, for one, yes.
somebody,
In mind.
somebody,
Interested, of course, I have to apply, we'll put out job posts and that. And same thing for the be posted. So DSS, in other words, they have their own offset revenues, just like Missy does, can't get unless, Sonia's involved, because, I'm not cutting as much as I think I'm cutting. I learned that the first couple of years. Like,
Well, they didn't have training for position or anything.
and she cut out, trimmed the fat out what she could, I think. Have regular DSS income maintenance, the child support enforcement, and the children and family service. And none of those really had this split, there's no big jump up on CPI. Children and family services actually went down by 20,000, so still up from last year. And that's a have-to thing. I mean, that's something that's needed, so much needed service. Veteran services, I will say that, Betty and Ed does a great job down there, 2 part-time positions. They have a good understanding of what quite a few people. Ed now has a RN degree. Also, he knows both sides. Anyway, he's been able to help quite a few people. Betty too, Betty's really. And we have people come from, other counties. Child daycare. She has grant money, for the playground and different things. She's been working on some kitchen stuff, or I might not be saying that, on flooring and stuff up there, where she has to meet code with the state. Playground equipment, this stuff. But we're also getting some paving up there. It's not been paved yet. And some drainage stuff.
I live out there,
Health department.
let's check all those. Hey, that triangle. Out,
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, it's up there. They gonna overlay that, put a paving coat on that.
Eventually, we'll give us some background. He's got some money up there from FEMA to do some work on the pavilion, but I don't think. But the daycare, she's got some money to do some grant money. She's working on that. She does a good job of. She loves those little kids. And I think she's got a waiting list. Is that right, Brandon? She's got a waiting list for people I'll plug this in for old Morgan and everybody else that's got young children, because we've all been there, you know. We have employees with young children, a lot of struggle for childcare. Struggle if their child is in school and they have to work, you know, need to, everybody, they call a snow day. If they call a, water day, you know, water something, they have a hard time getting that kid situated, causes them to miss some work. And they said, if we had a place to take them, an after school program, a summer program, or this or that. And I know some counties have, some towns, actually in the high country region, have done some of their own daycares or prioritize daycare for certain groups of the community, or sometimes they're county employees or their town employees. if we ever could get Grant to do something like that with her with a waiting list, and I've talked to Sonia about expanding the daycare center, maybe making some slots for, employees' kids. That helps working parents, but just FYI, if you hear of anything, it'd be good. Be interested in. Morgan's like, well, Lawson's getting in school this year. I won't have to worry about this, but he's in the high school this year, preschool program, and still if the water line's cut or something, they're out, snow day, we're still working. It's a shuffle. And we've heard that from numerous parents. That's like, it's a struggle. But thank you, Mom. No work from home. Because I have 350 from home.
Yeah.
So anyway, just FYI, we have a chance to expand daycare in our community. And I know that's just our county employees that we're hearing from. I know that's dittoed all across the county. People trying to work and find jobs. Think much needed. And I think that's a sound sentiment from all the counties across the board that I nobody comes in saying, oh, we've got plenty of jobs. So senior center, we are fixing the senior center floor and then the next couple of weeks, we just got the paint down there. So that's from the storm. That's in on the project. So he should be setting pretty good. We don't have anything in for his sitting room, but I think he needs that new sitting room floor wall. I think just check the project. So, yeah. So, but he didn't ask for anything additional, but I will say that we have a wait list. We need to hit up some of our community members, our volunteer groups and things, and maybe knock on a few doors, because we have a wait list, if I understood Jackie right now. And we're serving them. Probably shout some of these church groups and different things. Some are, they can be 18 years old or whatever, they're responsible and get skills out. I think it's a good summer service program too, that would help some of these kids. He's pretty, but
Like school.
I know, well, and you don't want to start something, you can't keep up. But if we had somebody that could take over after that from the churches or from these Rotary clubs or different things, we do it on a volunteer basis and we pay them personal memo. So they're just not making any. But it's volunteer, and you say, well, why can't you volunteers just double their meals? But you have to get them there at a certain time, at a certain temperature, so you can only make 10 deliveries on the same road. So then it cuts out, if you just got 10 meal delivers, you can only do 10 or so roads. 10 meals per, that's 100 meals. So just something food for thought, but that's a big thing for doubling their so you'll notice his really public schools, we all in the school thing, 155.
Okay. Okay. This question. So, they are seeking a grant for re- on fields. I don't know, maybe part of it is about.
Parking lot, HVAC.
Okay, so the concern is field, plans to do, yeah, yeah, football. Yeah. Or, wait a minute. Uh, so, they'll put it back, so. it's-
Well, I know that's you.
Yeah.
But never be voted by.
This. Totally.
Now that grant that they got it. So I don't know if they're fine with that.
Well, I think this must be something. It's baseball, softball field.
Other grant they got all money.
But the concerning is they can't put back for the upkeep. Well, there's really no upkeep, there'll be replacement and maintenance. But can be able to help. Oh. So my.
Now, their capital's down thing on from sales tax.
Just because of the budget or anything about.
I wonder if they could use their payment off that school and that school. How long does that third last? If the third lasts 15 years, then maybe they can start putting back.
3 to 5 years. For burn.
They like this year, the current year, they got $944,950 sales tax. That's their Article 40 and 42, their percentage of that.
2, 3, 5 years.
But really, that's five, they actually got an additional 500,000. We hope that 500,000 to pay that debt service. So they really got, almost $1.5 million.
Well, yeah. I was asking three. To maybe see if moving forward, we might be able to put the step in. Sure.
Well, I can give it to you. I can give it to you.
You know, I guess it's yes, that. Maybe not in high school, but a lot of times for people. Chance. So.
I'll give you Kim. Let's talk about
My personal thoughts. What I do. It's hard to see the future out. Understand. Look hard. Give.
It's your job.
Well, that's something they need to think for.
And I don't even know what's something like that.
They need to think about.
That deal. The replacement. Put in. 15 years.
Does that go on that lasts like 15 years?
Well.
I
I think
that. You know.
But then the night we met with them, the tax still have 3 to 5 year license. Redo it. And they.
I wonder what they redo.
What they said.
They may have to re-put something to it, like paint it or re-put the,
Replacement. Full replacement is like. And, you know, that's a,
what's the charge, $1, not the files.
like anything else. They're about to increase. But they're not gonna- They- Duplicate. Forward. You don't want to put future boards. This works work.
Do something that,
That's just. But, first thing, we can't.
you two,
We can't project.
I lean so fast.
We can't project 2 or 3. Wow. 5 days for that.
And you know, the state laws and everything else that's passed between now and then, like the tax stuff. Sometimes you just have to bend a little, you know, to be able to make things happen. You never know what's.
We got a lot of.
Okay, so that's in there. That's the increase that was in there.
Let's go back.
It was 3.618.
I want to ask for an additional 23,000.
And that was for. Anyone? He met with us, you know, we got new. I like, he said things to be good. Well, he's just getting his feet wet, but he didn't meet with. And he was been there last. And he was there last month, or last week, you see him in the back there. He's been coming the last couple. Yeah. But he's. Well, and this budget may come, he may next year, he's just getting. I'll call him to get him to come, maybe for our next budget meeting.
Oh, yeah.
But he had some one. Yeah.
Good.
I tell you that, he just comes in and sits down with them in class and hears conversations with them. I love it. That's true. He seems to be pretty easy going.
Biggest balance. Fourth stuff here, yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
Thanks.
Okay, and then the library is the next one. Whitney's doing great.
Yeah.
Up there. Stuff on that.
Or anybody. Now.
She's enjoying it. I think those ladies up there enjoy it. Thanks myself. I think she always serves the public. She's been doing but reading the book, it's like Charlotte's Web down at the senior center. They're going to the daycare, the sleep with the big red dog and different things, feed the cat. She's had a pretty good working relationship with the libraries around her as well. So seems like it's going pretty good. You know. So,
And we had some of those that complained about that.
she's had some confidence. So she's looking forward to doing some rearranging back there. Book sale, the upstairs and cleaning the Sarah Lewis, so forth. Jody Higgins has been at some additional representation there. Politician Jody Higgins, you know, no, she does the, Kivett stuff. So she'll come in from once a month or so for that, but, she really likes. The library's trying to get some grants, to do a little paintings to give to the grant.
Now the doors, that exterior doors and working on that. And then,
Several thousand, thanks for that.
There's some grant for the gutters, right? There's some gutter work that maintenance had put in his for some bigger gutters and the fascia board needed to be replaced and, the bill. She's got a grant for a new flagpole and different things.
in the CRC, that is for, that's not the CRC farm department, that's the CRC, the brown door. That's the paper like your utility bills and all that.
And Lindsay claims it. So the whole paper stop from the back. But she also, if there's any rent checks, she brings those, her and Angie coordinate all that. They- Any kind of key.
Who's in it?
And we have a waiting list. Literacy council up there, the EDC office is still up.
Probably in checks.
Parkway Playhouse is still up there. We have some ladies that, sew. Some of them offers. There's a wait list up there. So then recreation, parks and rec. Nothing huge in his ass, of course, he always asks for the money, but.
Well,
I can find it, I read that. And he said if there's like on other, he wants forward. It hurt that floor bad. Of course, you know that floor don't is nice. If you fall on that thing, it'll take the skin out off your leg. It said it was a ton and they
They
didn't.
had cars like that.
There was plenty of clothes up there.
But the gym floor was gonna be $77,467. So we took that out. We had it in there.
And then of course the Cane River, the River Campground. Of course, you guys got an update on the campground. Cane River Park, that's still our kidnap, all that stuff, even though we're Cane River still washed away. We hope to look at, get that one back going. We hope the engineer got everything on that. Campground, we're excited about getting that back. So. Anything like Then the other thing, contributions to various funds. Randy will probably have to tell you about those, because all those fund 40s and all that.
The first one, the contribution to Fund 22, that is our max to like all the JCPC grants, like the Project Challenge, the JCPC admin, the juvenile media, and that's our max. And the contribution to Fund 25, 143,000, that's our contribution to the next rebound. We have to set so much aside every year for that. And then down there, the East Tennessee Water and Sewer, that's 40,000 until we get that figured out and get it out of our name. We still have to pay the utilities on that. That's it.
So that was,
That's
what is
it.
the FEMA project? And we got a $2.9 million budget, or for, working with the dog and stuff, for it on the DQ
What did you say?
So any questions on that? The whole budget, so you can mail that over. See what you want. See what, you wanna move anything around, take things out, put things in. If that's balance budget, no fund balance, budget and off the fund balance or anything like that. There's nothing. I know that some other counties have balance.
So,
I'm raising taxes for that. That, that.
So what do you wanna do? Okay, so the tax office. Let me give you a little rundown on that. So what we did is we got. It was like a 98,000 wins. So I took the 98,000 and excess, paid the additional part for the nurse, for the health department. And I did the $500 for sunshine and the $500 for reconciliation now. So that left 77. And I just put in general fund contingent, so you guys figure out what you wanted to do with.
So this,
What happened was, we got a quote to redo the air conditioner up here. They
They can.
we kind of played with something.
I think it is.
They're over there. You don't be.
I can bring in, sorry, but I would wanna see if those girls that. It may be that they're doing so much that they, if they're sending out like. But, I wanna investigate that.
Oh, you get that?
Yeah.
what you're telling me, you know that out.
But you know, you can bring in her salary, you just don't have the salary, so there is half part-time that Connie was at, but. And I do know that it's a strain on the. There's a lot just on me, but. But let me look into it.
So 6-1.
Can you make a motion?
Second.
Fire. Jim and Birch.